Hello, everyone, and welcome to a recap of Sidelined 2 Intercepted, aka the sequel to the hit Tubi movie Sidelined, The QB and Me. I made a video about the first movie, which was based off my memory of watching the movie. So basically, the abridged version of the entire movie. And so if you don't know anything about the first movie, then go watch that video as like a short 15-minute recap of everything going into this movie. I became a little bit obsessed with the first movie in like a very unironic way. It started off ironic, and then I was genuinely excited for the second one, which meant that things were wrong. But I initially just like to point out with the poster, the first poster had Drayton looking at the camera and Dallas looking at him, but then in this poster, Dallas is looking at the camera and Drayton is looking at her. Does that show dynamics for the movies? I don't really know yet. Let me know in the comments if you have an idea surrounding that. We start the movie at the USC campus because that's where Noah Beck, aka Drayton, goes to school. Because of course he got into USC as a starting quarterback his freshman year of college. Makes total sense, of course. We also start this movie by glazing Noah Beck and saying that all girls think he's so hot. They want to be with him. But he is instead eyes only on his girlfriend, his Gorgina girlfriend, Dallas. And they are communicating through voice memos because it's an easier exposition dump than showing text on the screen. So they are basically saying through voice memos how much they miss each other because she is at CalArts, he is at USC. Technically, they are close to each other, but they are both so busy because of their schedules because he is a starting quarterback somehow, don't ask me how. And then she is busy with dance stuff and also just normal school stuff. Through this exposition dump, they also introduce their two new friends, which is Dallas's roommate Miley and then Drayton's general just football friend Zach. And then through a voice memo, Dallas says that she's starting to forget what he looks like because they hadn't seen each other in person forever, which prompts him to send a very, very scary mirror selfie that I never want to see again. This movie is just a big excuse for people to keep saying, oh, no, Beck's so hot. And no one's looking here. The absolute diva that is Dallas. Oh my god, she's Gorgina. Some stakes are set up at the beginning of this only for the fact that they have to lock in college because Drayton has to perform well to stay on the team and stay with his starting position. And then Dallas has an opportunity to be part of one of her dance teacher's masterclass if she does well for this audition. And basically being part of this masterclass will give her a better chance of having a professional career. So she's like locked in on that. But they find a time where Drayton comes to visit Dallas at her campus. And I'm pretty sure this is a surprise because when he shows up, she like runs up to him and then just like hugs him. And then she says, nice catch quarterback when he catches her.
Nice catch quarterback.
Sadly, we are bringing this back. I really hoped that we would just drop this after the first movie. It was objectively the joke out of the movie, but we really didn't need to bring it back. Anyway, they go back to her dorm room and then immediately start having sex because they haven't seen each other in like forever. But she does have a roommate, as I said. Miley is her roommate. And Miley does indeed walk in on them and she's like, oh, I didn't see anything. Then rushes back out. And then they continue when she leaves again, but then Drayton gets a call and so they stop again. He ignores it and then Dallas also gets a call, so they just decide to like answer the phones, whatever. And who is on the phone but both Josh and Gabby, respectively, calling each of them. And they answer the phones at the same time in the same room. So like the dorm beds like across the room from each other, they're both sitting on those all on the phone. You can hear each other's conversation. There's no way like the other phone end will pick it up. Anyway, they are both calling to say that they broke up because they got together in the first movie, but because he goes to Stanford, I think, and she goes to Harvard, the distance was too much for them, so they just broke up. And he seems to be more torn up about it because like she was the one who broke things off. And this is also kind of reflecting the spot that Drayton and Dallas are in because they are struggling with time to see each other, and so they're like, we don't want to break up, and this is being shown through the concept of their friends relationship. But when Dallas is talking to Gabby about this whole like ending up with your high school sweetheart, she's like, you guys are the exception though, like you and Drayton are gonna end up together. Agree to disagree. But also like they are like, oh yeah, like this is so hard, like a funny time to see each other, but they live in the same city, unlike Josh and Gabby who literally were in different states. And then this leads them to have a discussion about how like they want to make it work better, and technically they're not long distance, but it's just like really difficult with their schedules. And so they decide to see each other every weekend, whether it's like Dallas coming to visit him or him coming to visit Dallas, because Dallas doesn't have a car, so there's not a lot of opportunity for her to just go see him on a whim. And Drayton stays the night in her dorm room, which leads him to wake up late when he had like watching tapes for football the next morning, and so he misses that. And it's like a big deal apparently. And he also gets berated when he misses this by his coach, and he's like, yeah, you shouldn't have missed it. And then he gets like yelled at for not knowing the plays, even though he's a freshman. And this will come up so much in the movie, and I will complain about it every single time. Like he's technically the starting quarterback, but he's avidly beefing with another quarterback, which is like the second string, and he's a senior. Why don't they just play the senior this year and wait for Drayton to have more experience next year? I like generally don't get it because he'll have the chance to play in the NFL no matter what. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, he gets berated by his coach for not knowing the rules that he was supposed to know from the taping. And then he's still ungrateful because his coach moves him down to second string for like the next practices because he missed this taping. And Drayton is like, whoa, what the heck? Like, why did you do that? You missed the taping, bro. It's your fault. Also, he's a freshman. It's not that big of a deal. Then they plan to have a date night. I think it's like the next week, but Drayton is very late because his practice runs late, and then he has to like drive California traffic, you know? But Dallas is all like dressed up and she looks so gorgina. And then by the time he gets to her dorm, everything is closed. And so they can only go to this bar that's like a saloon. Sadly, I have to bring this up because it will come up again. And like, I don't get why there's a saloon here, but like, that's neither here nor there. And Dallas gets the idea by looking at cowboy boots on her dorm floor, which like slay, I guess. But then they go line dancing as their date. The country imagery in this movie, I can't, like, it's just starting right now. It will get worse. And then while they're on this date, like they're eating food or whatever, Dallas ends up getting an interview for a job that she needs because she originally got a full ride to go to CalArts, like a full ride scholarship, but then the tuition raised because of inflation, so now she has to pay like $18,000 in tuition, even though she had a full ride to begin with. I don't know how she expects one coffee shop job to cover all of that, but that's neither here nor there. Miley is the one who helps her get set up with this because Miley is a senior, I think. I actually don't know for sure, but she knows someone to get her the connections to get that interview. So shout out to Miley. Anyway, she'll have to work on weekends now if she gets the job, which sucks because that's the only time her and Drake can see each other. He even offers to pay for her to come to his away games because he just wants to see her, which is nice, but she's like, no charity case. And then Drayton has to leave like early because he has practice the next morning, even though his girlfriend looks gorgina. I can't illustrate how good she looks in this movie. Like, she actually looks beautiful. It's not even funny. And then when he goes to practice the next morning, he again gets drilled about not knowing everything to do in the case of being a quarterback, and I still don't get it. I don't know why he has to know it because he's a freshman. He only played high school football before this. Why would he know everything about college ball? But I will never get answers, so I'm not going to keep asking. I don't remember the senior's name that's like basically bullying him this entire time because he wants a starting quarterback position, but it's not important. Just know that he's there making fun of Drayton every single time that he can. And a little bit of a time skip to their first official football game, and they are wearing ketchup and mustard uniforms because they're USC. Drayton's dad is there, and he's being a supportive father figure, unlike last movie, so he has evolved. And as they're talking, Drayton is clutching onto his uniform for dear life. It's crazy. And then Dallas is late to the game, even though she said that she would come because it's a home game. It's because her interview at the coffee shop is running late because the interviewer won't show up. And then she complains to this guy about how her interviewer is late because he offers her a coffee. And she's like, oh, this is so stupid. I want to go see my boyfriend play football. And he's like, oh, sorry to keep you waiting. So he was the interview the entire time, and she just made a really bad impression. This, of course, is Luke from Julie and the Phantoms, aka Luke Hemmings in my mind. So I will be calling him Luke this entire time. His actual name is Skylar in the movie, but he's Luke to me, and I didn't write Skylar down in my notes at once. He was never Skylar to me. That's Luke. Anyway, he kind of likes her boldness, and so he continues the interview even though she like blatantly said that he was really annoying for being late to said interview. And she just basically says that she really needs the job, and he's like, I respect that. And so he gives her the job. He is serving weird vibes in this movie. Okay, I generally like this man. I saw him in Julie and the Phantoms, and I didn't mind him there, but I don't know if it's the curly mullet, because I think he looks fine with the hairstyle. I think it's his general vibe in this movie, maybe the lines he was dealt, because I hate his character. I hate this man. And it made me kind of hate the actor because looking at him makes me think of how irrationally angry I get seeing any of his scenes. And his whole point is to set up a jealousy plot, and I really don't care about it. And because she gets the job, she rushes off to the game because she's still late. And then we have some totally awesome football scenes that I was totally sold for, and I actually knew what was going on because I watched some NFL games, guys. I know football enough to know that this was a bad game for Drayton. He was throwing some interceptions, he was fumbling, it was bad. And then he has a play where no one is open, so he gets completely sacked with the ball, and this leads to him getting an injury in his leg. And not only his leg, his ACL, which is a big no-no because that is tore, your whole career is like shot. But he only sprains it, so it's not completely a tear. And then I think this is when Dallas gets here. Like, I think she wasn't even here for like when he got injured. So Dallas and his dad have a heart-to-heart outside of the hospital, and he's like, just give him some time. Like, he's not going to be himself because he went through like a big change and he's not going to be able to play football for a while. So like, he's going to be a different human. And she's like, of course, I'll support him. Also, I can't emphasize this enough. He's a freshman. He has more time to play college football. I get it if this was like his senior year because that'd be like his last chance to play enough to get like into the NFL. But like, you're a freshman. You have 3 more years. She goes to talk to him in the hospital because she's a great girlfriend and like wants to support him. And then he's being very dismissive because he's like watching the game footage back. He's like, oh, the senior guy, like he totally took over the game and like did really well. And so like, I'm going to look horrible because I got injured. And like, it's not the deep. The other guy's a senior. It's gonna be his last year playing. You're gonna have plenty of time, man. I'm gonna let him off the hook for being mean to his girlfriend this one single time because he just went through a life change. And then Dallas has to go back home, obviously, and she has the first day of her job the next morning. And she is talking to Luke as they're like opening the coffee shop, and he reveals that he's in a band. Well, of course he is, and he offers her a spot for dancing in the next music video that they have because he figures out that she's majoring in dance, and he's like, oh, that's cool. You want to be in this music video thing? And she's like, no, I only do like classical training dances. And he's like, well, that's pretentious of you. She can major in whatever she wants, actually. She can do whatever dance she wants. And also, she is busy and focused on her audition for the professional training thing. Because, like, why are you absolutely hating on a girl for, like, standing on business? She's like, I only do classical training. Like, I'm more of a ballet girly. And he's like, well, you're actually really protected for that. Like, you can't even do anything. I genuinely hate this man so much. He started here and then got worse. And then Drayton is not living life because he can't practice, but he has to still be there. And then the senior guy is bullying him for being injured, which is weird because, like, that could happen to him at any time. Drayton also gets a PT who I think is actually an assistant. Like, she's in college still, but like she's in charge of his recovery for his sprain. And she tells him the right thing to do, which is rest for a little bit, unless he will tear his ACL and then not have a career at all. He somehow is not taking this advice because I need to play right now. And so he's like overextending himself way too much and hurting his leg all the time. And this, of course, comes in the form of he wants to take Dallas to a frat party for their date. I like to point out that she also turns down an opportunity to hang out with Miley for this date because she's like, oh, I really want to support Drayton because he wants to go to this frat party. Please stand up for your boyfriend and say no to frat parties, especially when I think the theme for the frat party was like objectifying women in some way. Not to mention when they get to this party, Drayton immediately leaves her alone because he wants to go play a game of darts against the senior guy that he's rivaling with. So she's all alone at this frat party. She knows no one. I mean, like, so seriously, it's a USC party. So she knows no one. And it's so stupid. And then as they're playing the game of darts, the senior guy is making fun of Drayton for being injured, but then he also says that his girlfriend saw it in like a way of like trying to get under his skin. And then while they're playing darts, Dallas overhears some random girls at the party talking about how Drayton is like the hottest guy ever and like that they want to get with him even though he has a girlfriend because like it's well known that he has a girlfriend. And they're like, oh yeah, like I like a challenge. And she's like, oh no, I don't want to be in this environment at all. The thing is, like, she gets like insecure about this, not in the sense that she's like, oh, Drayton's gonna cheat on me, just from the fact that like a lot of girls want him, but like she looks like this. She's got nothing to worry about. And then she says that she wants to leave after this, and he like says yes because she seems sad, but they don't communicate out of this because of course they don't. Also, Drayton is avidly going against his PT's instructions and walking and running, even though he's supposed to be limiting that, especially running. He's not supposed to be running at all, but he's running the track because he is thinking that's going to heal his leg faster. He can do what he wants. He can take whatever recovery journey he wants. I guess he just doesn't want to play professional because he doesn't want a career if he's going to be overextending his ACL. As a girl who's a baby about pain, I really don't see how he's doing this. Like, how are you avidly hurting your leg for fun? Because it's not going to give you the result of like it getting better faster. I don't get how he thinks that way. And then he goes to see Dallas, and like when he sits down, he's like, oh, my leg hurts so bad. And she's like, why? And he's like, I was running on the track. She said, well, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. It's not rocket science. And he's also not doing the one thing that he was supposed to do, which is elevate it. And then they get into an argument because she's like, you need to stop pushing yourself unless your leg's not going to heal. And he's like, yeah, no, I think I know what I'm doing. Like, I know my own capabilities. And she's like, I'm not saying that, but like, I'm saying that objectively, it's not going to get better this way. And he's being overall manipulative and mean. And they leave this argument with overall bad vibes. But then he feels bad, and so he calls her later and he's like, I want to do a dinner date before I leave for Florida because he has an away game, which he still has to go to even though he's injured. The vibes after this dinner, which we don't see, of course, are actually good, and they're like talking in the car and they're communicating about the stuff at the party with like Dallas overhearing those girls, and he's like, no, it's chill. And then they almost have sex in the car on a public street, I'd like to point out. And then of course they get caught by the police. It's just like one police officer, and she like knocks on their window and she's like, we should not be doing that in this car. But then she recognizes Drayton as like being on the football team. She's like, I'll let you guys off with a warning. And then he leaves for Florida the next day, which means that Dallas has an opportunity to do things outside of Drayton, aka actually hang out with Miley because Miley keeps inviting her to stuff, which she's just turned down for this man. But this also means that she's hanging out more with Luke because Luke has become friends with Miley somehow, some way. I really don't know. And then because of this, she chooses to do the music video audition anyway, even though she like said no originally, just because she has time now. I'm so sad for her because that means she's doing a favor for this evil man, and it's to a really, really bad song. As in, I don't really know what band means to him, but for the music video, it's only him singing with a guitar. So like maybe he just has a band doing like instrumentals. I don't know. But of course she like, gets the part in the music video and they're like doing like interpretive dance to this really bad country song. It's a country song for context. Like I don't know why they introduced him as having country music. It's not good music either. The song is really bad, and he's singing in probably the deepest voice I've ever heard from a man ever. When she walks in the room, she goes down the room. And they also like get really close while they're dancing. These photos were like in the trailer and stuff because they were like trying to set up, oh, like she gets with another guy, but like they're just dancing. She looks really good. And then they're talking about after about how the song is like about a breakup that he had. I really don't care because I don't care about his feelings. What I do care about is that her hot brother from last movie is back and he's in California and I love him and he's still really hot. I conveniently forgot to put him on this board. I feel like I took a screenshot of his face, but I don't remember. Also, I never said, but this is Drayton's PT. The important part is that she's a girl because that sets up the other jealousy plotline. But like in my opinion, their chemistry was not really like there, and so like it's not even a jealousy plotline for me to even mention because like I really don't care. As Dallas's brother is back home, Drayton also gets back home from his away game, so they're planning to have like dinner together because you know Dallas's brother used to be his coach, like they're butts. Then he is being pissy about the fact that he can't play football again, and so he's cancels on dinner because he's like, I'm just so tired, my knee hurts so bad, and like I forgot we had dinner. And so she's like, fine, I guess this is his last night here, but like be a Debbie Downer. And then it also, like, his knee does hurt. That is true because he's pushing himself too hard still, and he is so close to tearing his ACL. And at this point, I hope he does because he's pissing me off. And then he's being such a pissy bitch about his own recovery that his PT quits. Like, she's like, I'm not going to even help you anymore. Like, you're avidly going against what I say, and I'm not gonna deal with you. And then because he's in such a sourpuss mood, he misses Dallas's dance showcase, which is like a big thing for her, like midterm. I don't really know. I think it's like the audition for the masterclass thing. Don't quote me on that though. Her coworker shows up over her boyfriend, and like she is kind of at a breaking point because everyone in her life thinks that her boyfriend is fake because he's never there. Because Luke has never met Drayton because Drayton is never with Dallas, if you will. She is kind of crushing out because like she's like, oh yeah, my boyfriend plays football for USC, so he's kind of busy. And everyone's like, are you sure that you have a boyfriend?
I'm nervous.
I really don't know why he didn't go to the showcase because he shows up afterwards and he's like, hey, so sorry that I didn't come. So, like, were you just late or like, did you just not want to go? And she is rightfully angry at him because she's like, you literally missed like the most important thing of my dancing career. And he says it's like the same thing as her missing his only game of the season. And it wasn't her fault that he got injured. So it wouldn't have been his only game of the season. And she was late because of external circumstances. Like, she couldn't change that. And she's avidly trying to make up for it, but like, planning dates and stuff like that. And he is just placing the blame back to her when he does something wrong. Such a manipulative man. I hate him. No, Beck is going on my shit list after this. And then she says that she sacrificed so much for this relationship because she is avidly turning down opportunities to spend time with him and like going out of her way to make things better for him and catering to his feelings and not getting anything in return. And she specifically says that she puts a lot of work to be in his like world and he puts none of work to be in hers, aka the whole debacle of like people thinking that he's fake because he's never there and like never shows up to her stuff, specifically with her friends. And then he has the nerve to say, oh yeah, I sacrificed missing that taping, which like put me in a bad spot with my coach when I was staying with you. And then his exact words were, when I was stuck in Valencia, which is where her college is. And she's like, stuck? And now it's like, oh, so like she's a prison. Like, being in this relationship is a prison for him, which like I really don't know why he used that wording. And they break up right then and there. Dallas's choice, of course, because she's not putting up with this anymore. And frankly, I don't think she should put up with it at all. And he has the nerve to be like, wait, come back. No, leave. Go crawl back to your little USC dorm. This is heartbreaking for Dallas because like she thought that they were gonna work it out, whatever. But she is crying in her dorm room and then she calls Gabby. And so the next day, Gabby comes to visit her at school. At least I think it's the next day. It might be like a week later. I honestly don't know. The timescapes are very nondescript in this movie. Drayton is also going through it, but in a tough guy way. Okay, he's still doing stuff and not like holed up in bed. But Josh comes to visit him because Drayton's parents are aware of the fact that he broke up with Dallas, and so he's kind of going through it. And then Gabby and Miley drag Dallas out to the club to get over Drayton. And then for some reason, Luke is also there. I honestly don't know how old he is because he isn't in college to my knowledge. So like, why is he just hanging around a bunch of college students if he's not that age? I'm really questioning things at this point. And then him and Dallas are talking about the fact that she broke up with her boyfriend, and he was like, oh, it wasn't because of me, right? The nerve of this man to ask. And she was like, no, it wasn't. And I think it's also because like he made a comment about how she deserves better because she low-key does, but like he made it in a way of like, I could be better. And then in this moment, after like she says like, oh yeah, it's not your fault that we broke up, he looks at her weird and I don't like it. And he's like watching her from far at the club and I really don't like it. And then Gabby goes to Drayton's dorm to return his stuff from Dallas's room, like on her behalf. And he's like, oh, like, can I go talk to her? And she's like, I'm not playing middleman, so you know where to find her, go to work. He literally shows up like at the beginning of a shift when she's like working. And I feel like that's evil because like she's at work. And originally she's like, no, like stop talking to me. I literally don't want to talk to you. But then he's like, I think we should parent trap Gabby and Josh back together because they're both in town, obviously. And like he was getting vibes from Josh that he wasn't completely over her. And then she also got vibes from Gabby that they weren't completely over. And so they decide to do this at a frat party. And also as an excuse of being at her place of work, he orders a coffee and it's like her coffee order. I think it's like an iced vanilla latte. Like it's not crazy, but it's the smallest coffee ever. Like she makes it, it's probably this big and it's cost $7.50. That is probably the most real thing in this movie is that coffee is so damn expensive. Like it's comically small. When they go to this frat party, Josh knows about the thing. Editing Natalie here, I think I just got confused because later he said that like thanks for parent trapping us to Drayton, but I don't think he knew about it. And I think I just was thinking a little too rashly. So ignore what Natalie's about to say because it really holds no weight, which I feel like is really mean and evil because then it's not a true parent trap. Like if one of them knows about it, because Drayton tells Josh, but then Dallas doesn't tell Gabby, which I feel like is ego and mean because like, why are you not helping a girl out? Anyway, they have nerdy little costumes together and like they get back together right then and there because they just hit it off and want to go out and eat from the frat party. And this also means that Drayton and Dallas have to talk to each other again. And she's like, not for this. And she looked absolutely drop dead gorgeous at this party because she's wearing like a costume. I really don't know why they're wearing costumes. I think it's like a theme. I really don't know, but she looks so pretty. And not only do Josh and Gabby get back together, but like they are planning like to stay together, as in like he's driving her to the airport the next morning and they're like gonna make it work. So I don't get how they so easily broke up before. It was one phone call that just like ended everything. I really don't get it, but like that's not, they're not important anymore. And I mean, like they literally don't show up again. Also, at this party, Drayton is trying to stop other guys from talking to Dallas, even though like that's not his decision. They literally broke up, but his PT is also there, and so she's trying to talk to him, as in like trying to flirt with him. I don't know if he's reciprocating it. To be honest, I don't think he knows that she's even flirting with him. And then this man has a nerve to go up to Dallas and be like, "I think we should be friends," and she's like, "No," and walks away as she should. And then Drayton takes this time. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give her space," and he's talking to his buddy Zach about this, which I honestly don't know what his goal is in this movie. Like, I don't know what he's here for. Anyway, Zach is against giving her space, and he's like, just have an excuse to call her, aka her birthday's coming up. And so Drayton's like, fine, I'll call her once on her birthday, and if she doesn't answer, then I'm like leaving it. Also, Drayton is now cleared to play because his knee healed after he took rest. Crazy thought. And then Miley takes Dallas out for her birthday with like a whole like party of their friends and stuff, and Luke is also there. And the way that he greets her makes me want to actually turn and run the other way. He's actually a freak, and I don't like it. And they also went back to the fuck ass bar saloon for some reason. I guess she likes it here. I guess she likes country music. I really don't know. All I know is that this is where this photo is from, and this photo, and they look Gorgina. And then she's having fun line dancing with Miley and like having fun for her birthday. But then Luke is watching her from the corner like a little freak. And then while this is happening, Drayton is at like a tailgate or something. I really don't know what it's for. It's not for a game, I don't think. But then his PT is there, and she's also trying to flirt with him. And it's a lore drop that she is the ex-girlfriend of the guy that he's rivaling with. And do I care? No, because she's like barely a character. She's just there to like be there to like Drayton. But with the whole thing of her being the senior's ex-girlfriend is that he starts being like super disrespectful, and so Drayton like defends her, which like is the right thing to do. But like she takes this the wrong way, and she's like, oh, like he likes me, which like my man is not over Dallas. And I'm pretty sure they have like a talk next to like a hotel door, which like is like the first movie when Dallas and Drayton like are outside the motel when they're going on like the school trip or whatever. That's when they have like their deep conversation for the first time. And like I think this is like when he realizes that he really doesn't like. I wish I knew her name, but I don't remember it. Hey, editing Natalie back again to say that I'm giving this movie way too much credit, and I think I overthought this scene in entirety. They are next to a hotel door. I don't think it's supposed to mirror anything from the first movie, in fact. I think it's just an opportunity for his PT to invite him into her hotel room. Also, her name is Charlotte. I finally figured it out. His motives are very unclear in this whole entire movie. Anyway, Dallas is still at her birthday party, and then Luke decides to go up on stage and sing a country song written for Dallas. When I tell you, this is the worst song I've ever heard, and it's worse than the other one that he sang for the music video. And that's saying something. I didn't know it could get worse. I'll give you a reading of the main chorus of the song because it's absolutely abysmal, and like I don't get how she was impressed by this, because she was like cheesing at this man when he was singing this, because like he was singing it to her, but like, oh my god, this is the worst thing I've ever heard. Also, this is how the song starts. This is also the chorus, but it starts the chorus for some reason. It starts with, no, he can't love you in the way that you like, the way that I would. You can try to hide it every day, every night, but you feel it inside. Try and push it away, but babe, it's in the air. You push it away, but it's in the air. This is absolute freak behavior. And I mean this so seriously, because like she has had a boyfriend the entire time that they've like been friends or whatever. And so like the fact that he even has the concept of being in love with her, that is terrifying. Actually, no, I'll give more, because this line is crazy. He drops the line of, I see you choosing him, but he's choosing himself, and I know how it feels to be used.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
He has another lyric in here that says, does he know you in the way that I do? Girl, you've been working together for like not even a month. They've been dating for like a year plus. The absolute nerve of this man. Anyway, as I said, Dallas is into this for some reason, even though it's straight up creepy, freak behavior, and I would run the other way. But she gets a call from Drayton during this song, and she ends up taking it. So she walks away, and Luke gets pissy mad about this. Dallas and Drayton are talking on the phone, and he's basically like, oh, happy birthday. And she's like, thanks.
Monkey covering eyes emoji. Thanks.
Then he asks about her Thanksgiving plans, because apparently she loves Thanksgiving. Weird plot choice, but okay. But then they're both not going home for Thanksgiving. So they're like, what if we spend it together? Weird, but okay. And so I think they get like an Airbnb question mark. I really don't know where they're going for this Thanksgiving, but they both bring food and like are just gonna hang out. And then while they're there, Dallas gets a call about a callback for a like movie musical that she auditioned for just like on a whim. It wasn't necessarily like a through the school thing. It was just like a free audition, and she got like a callback for it, which like pretty high chances of getting the role, which is crazy. And when they said movie musical, I was like, oh, so she's auditioning for Wicked. If she got this, she would have to then move to New York to be in this movie musical. So like she would have to kind of quit college in order to be there. And then Drayton says that she should do it, even though she's like kind of on the fence about it, because she's like, I worked so hard to get here, but he's like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, you gotta take this. And then while they're there, they also end up having sex because of course they do. I could have seen that coming. And then afterwards, they're like talking about life and shit. I don't know. And she ends up asking him what his dreams are. And then he basically answers football, football, and football in 3 different ways. And then they like go to sleep or whatever. And then this has Dallas doing some reflecting with his answer and everything. And so she leaves really early the next morning and basically leaves him a note saying that like she doesn't want to hold him back from any of his dreams. And so she just wants to do like a clean break. And she's like, sorry, I couldn't be one of your dreams. The amount of times this man fumbled her is crazy because he had a chance. He could have been easily said like, oh yeah, like maybe like football and I want to like stay with you and like blah, blah, blah. I could see a world where he like didn't want to say her to like hold her back from moving to New York at the same time. That is actually evil and mean to answer football, football, and football. And then they are living separate lives now. They're really not reaching out to each other at all. But then she gets the part for the movie musical because of course she did. She's now a dancer in Wicked. She gets the call that she got the part at work. And so she tells Luke about it and he's like, you should totally do it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And she's like, I feel like something's holding me back though. And he's like, is it something or someone? And like, I really don't know what this is asking because like, I don't know if she's giving the vibes that she likes him at all. So maybe, is he saying that she still likes Drayton? Because I really don't know. Because he is sporting that he likes her. Spoiler alert, we don't see Luke Hemmings again. Like, he does not show up. So I really don't know why his character was here to begin with. Same with the PT. Like, why were they there? Because they didn't have any tension in the actual relationship. They had their own relationship problems. Trust, they're both the reason that they broke up. Like, it wasn't from outside sources. So I really don't know why he was there. Now Drayton finally has playing time because he's like all healed or whatever, but he's still on second string because of how long he's been off on the season. So he hasn't really had a chance to actually play because the senior guy is taking all the time. But he's having a heart to heart with his dad before his like, I think it's the last game. And his dad just basically says like, it's okay to make mistakes because the reason that Drayton is messing up all the time is because he's worried about messing up. His dad's like, yeah, you just gotta like play. And then Dallas is packing up her dorm because she has to move to New York now, of course. And her brother is helping her. And like, he basically says that their mom would have been really proud of her because her mom also wanted to move to New York to be like a dancer or whatever. But then she got pregnant with him. And so they kind of like settle down. He also decides that he wants to go back to college because he had to drop out when their parents died because he had to take care of Dallas, obviously. He decides that he's going to go back to college and he applies for stuff in New York. So then they'd be close together. And then as they're like taking a break from packing, he's like, oh, so what's it about staying back for Thanksgiving, like you and Drayton? And she's like, oh yeah, it was weird. Like he had practice. And so we just spent it together. And he's like, he did not have practice, bro. Like, I know the calendar. He was indeed just staying back because he wanted to see you. And she's like, why would he do that? Girl, you are so stupid. Obviously, he's in love with you. He's just really bad at communicating and being in a relationship. But there's no doubt that he was still in love. They never said they didn't love each other. It was just their relationship didn't work out timeline wise. And then her brother convinces her to go say goodbye at his game tonight because she's leaving for New York the next day. And then right before the game, Drayton gets in a fight with a senior guy in the locker room and takes the high road. And he's like, you know what? We should just play as a team. Like, I really, this argument isn't worth it. And then Drayton is back on that bench, clutching his uniform like a damn stuffed animal. He is clutch onto that thing even though he's not playing. And then they're behind in the fourth quarter, and then the senior guy who's still playing goes against a play that his coach tells him to do, and so the coach pulls him out and puts Drayton in it. Because like, I really don't know what he thought he was accomplishing by going against what the coach said, and it failed. When Drayton gets in his first play, he managed to get to a touchdown, which like I'm pretty sure they're on their fourth down. So shout out to him, I guess. And then I was really confused at this part in the movie because obviously they switched possession when they scored a touchdown, but they skipped over that switch possession. So I assume they just had really good defense because they skipped from them down by 12 to them down by 5. And there's like 5 seconds left of the game. So we skipped from like 5 minutes when they were 12 down and they got a touchdown. And then they were 5 down with like 5 seconds left. And so I was like very confused because they just switched over the other team having the ball. And I was convinced they just forgot how football worked, but it was because they had a time skip and didn't tell me. And then Drayton manages to throw a winning touchdown from like across the field. And I mean, like, it's like a 50-yard throw. It's so unrealistic because he does it with literally a buzzer beater. It's 5 seconds left of the game. And then after the game, he's like celebrating, but then he sees Dallas and then like they talk for a little bit and she basically says goodbye because like she's moving to New York. And he's like, oh, this is just a goodbye for now. And she's like, okay, you believe that. And then they kiss because like they're so in love or whatever. And then she's like, do you believe in like right person, wrong time? And then he's like, and then he basically says that he believes in fate and like that what is supposed to happen will happen. And then as she walks away from the football field, the movie ends. I was kind of gagged at this actually because I didn't think they were going to live on a cliffhanger, but slay to them, I guess. I don't know if they have another book in this series. I really didn't look into it much. When they announced that they had a sequel, all I know is that there was a sequel on Wattpad, but I don't know if there's a third book, and I don't know how it ends because I assumed they would end up together at the end of this movie. I really didn't think they would end broken. Like, it's probably for the better. If it ends here, I'd be completely okay with that because she deserves so much better than this man. I am surprised that they didn't end up together because it's a Wattpad movie, but it would have made no sense if they ended up together because added distance to whatever relationship they had before would have been equally destructive. So they wouldn't have lasted if they stayed together. And then during the credits of the movie, they gave a sneak peek to another TV movie that's about to come out, and it's starring the friend from Ginny and Georgia, and then Little Huddy. First of all, she has actual acting credits. What is she doing on a Wattpad movie? And then what is Little Huddy doing there? Also, this movie looks so incredibly cheesy and bad, and so stay tuned for a little bit after January 16th because I'll be here. I'll be here talking about it. Overall, this movie kind of made no goddamn sense in like a way of like more than the first one, and that's kind of saying something because the first one had no plot and all vibes because it was a Wattpad movie, but this one just didn't make sense objectively. And like the first one worked because it didn't have a plot, so it could not make sense. This one had like just a lot of them talking and nothing really happening. Why was Luke even there? I still don't get it. Like, he caused no drama because Drayton wasn't jealous of him at one moment. I mean, that's so serious. Also, why did they spend Thanksgiving together after being broken up? I really don't get it. Why would she agree to that? And then also, why did she even go to the game to say goodbye? Because, like, she was gonna leave anyway. Did she think it would lead somewhere? I don't know. I'm not questioning this author because, like, she wrote this as a sequel and published the book. Like, I don't get it. First of all, the concept of this Wattpad book even being published and then being made into a movie baffles me to my core. And then if they're actually gonna make a third one, like, is it gonna be soon? Because I really don't care enough. All my care went into this movie, and I really don't care anymore. Overall, so many questions, so little answers from this movie, and I don't know how to feel about it. I did rate it a 2 stars on letterbox, so check out my review if you want to see that. And then also check out my other socials because I like to post on Instagram. Please also consider subscribing, commenting your thoughts on this movie. If you thought it was good, please let me know what I'm supposed to be looking for. Thanks for watching.